Rob Bradford, kind enough to join us here, the host of a great named podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, covers the Red Sox for WEEI. You give him a follow on X at BradFO. Really appreciate you joining the program here, Rob. First of all, the name of that podcast, Baseball is not, we love baseball here. Who says it's boring? Is it the kids that can't handle it?
And I have proof. I have proof, guys. If you want to look, there's a tattoo right there. Baseball isn't boring. Right? So there we go. Yeah. Of course, Joe Kelly, my partner in the podcast and in the venture, he basically said if he won the World Series, we would get Baseballs and boring tattoos. So there you go. Proof.
I love it. That's fantastic. Rob, great to catch up with you again. I know we talked just a week or so ago on LME Network Radio. And let's start on the pitching side. Perfect segue with Joe Kelly. This is a part of the team that Craig Breslow really in earnest wanted to fortify. And I'm not sure, outside of maybe another club or two, that you could have done a much better job getting Ranger Suarez and Sonny Gray in support there of Garrett Crochet. Size up just the acquisitions here in your eyes, not only in the rotation, that will have Brayan Bello, Johan Oviedo as well coming over from Pittsburgh. Is this now as good a rotation that maybe you've covered since the glory days of when the Red Sox were winning World Series?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It's hard to say because, you had some really, really good rotations in the Beckett's, the Lesters, the Schillings, and those sort of guys. And they had proven it. They had done it. Now, a lot of these guys have proven it. They have done it. But still, you have Garrett Crochet, who's coming off his biggest workload as in his life. You have Sonny Gray, who obviously is a really, really good pitcher, but is also 36. You have Ranger Suarez, who is again a really, really good pitcher, but is known for coming through in the postseason. But you got to get him to the postseason. And you have Brayan Bello, who is the ultimate fork in the road guy. As we saw the other day for the Dominican Republic, he can be lights out, but he has to be more consistent. And then Oviedo is same sort of deal. So, yeah, the potential there is to have the absolute best rotation in all of baseball. But it's like anything. It could go the other way as well. All we know is this, is that once they didn't sign Bregman, their pivot was Ranger Suarez, run prevention, Caleb Durbin. This isn't a team that all of a sudden is going to be hitting 40 home runs and have Pete Alonso at the corner. This is going to be built on the aforementioned starting pitching.
Rob, let's talk about that offense and maybe lack thereof. But one guy that they're really expecting a lot of is Roman Anthony. And when you look at the MVP odds, once you get past the usual suspects like Judge, obviously, and Bobby Witt Jr. and Cal Raleigh, even Vlad Jr., he's there at 17-1. So is this kid, they're all kids to me, Rob, is he ready to take a leap that we can make a realistic expectation for MVP conversation?
Well, if the Red Sox, this is part of the Red Sox equation, is that he has to take a leap. They put their eggs in that basket. They're saying, we don't care if you're 21 years old. You're hitting at the top of the order. You're being the alpha. And they think they can handle it. He's a mature kid. He's a talented kid. To answer your question, yeah, I do think that I would not be surprised at all if he's in the MVP conversation, because while he is inexperienced and while we only have half a year to go off of, I will say this. I've been around enough guys to know he has the right perspective. He has the right demeanor. He's not going to be overwhelmed. He's going to make adjustments just like he did last year. And if you want a sample of it all, just go to the WBC and see what he's doing there. So the Red Sox are banking on this, and I do think that if you're going to bank on a 21-year-old, it's a pretty good 21-year-old to bank on.
Not a question about it, Rob. He has been sensational in a short sample already here in 2026. Let me zoom out on the AL East. You and I talked about it a week or so ago. This does have the chance to be the most difficult and challenging division, because I think we can agree every team kind of got better in their own way. Handicap the AL East in your eyes from being there and covering the division day in and day out. Is it again trying to run down the Blue Jays and the Yankees, or does this get really, really close with what Baltimore's done, Tampa doing their usual Tampa Bay Ray things? Size up the AL East in your eyes.
Yeah, Jensen, the first thing I'll say, I'll start at the bottom, is that, and maybe this team, the Rays, they don't deserve to be at the bottom, because every time we predict them to be there, they end up in May near the top. Nick Martinez and Steven Matz, Cy Young conversations, right? This is how it works. Drop a pitcher in, You're in the Rays Cy Young conversation. Then you have Shane McClanahan. My point is that this is the strongest division in baseball. And when you can talk about the last team in the way that we can talk about the Rays, that's why it's the strongest division in baseball. But I think obviously we've looked at the odds, and the Yankees, they're at the top for a lot of people. The Blue Jays, sure, they went to the Game 7, the last minute of the entire season, but still, you're sort of played for the tie in terms of your offseason. You lost Bichette, you got Okamoto, you have to have Dylan Cease work out. The Orioles are really intriguing me, not only in terms of the players, but the culture that they're building with Bassett and Alonso. And then the Red Sox, I'll say this, being around the Red Sox, I am more optimistic about the Red Sox than I was even a couple weeks ago. And maybe it's spring training, how this gets in your head, and you're delusional about things. Like this kid, Braden Ward's going to steal his 17th base today. I'm like, oh, my goodness, it's Ricky Henderson. When he does it, he's going to hold the base over his head. It's going to be this momentous thing. No, it's spring training. But spring training is for overreaction. And you try to pick through it, I'll just say this. I've tried to pick through it enough to still – this is the reality of the American League East. And I do think that the Red Sox are closer to the top than I think that I ever anticipated when I came to spring training.
Rob, we're going to have you back on here and check in as the season goes to see if that optimism carries over. And I know those fan bases there in Boston, they're expecting good things every year from the Boston Red Sox. Give them a follow on X at BradFO and check them out. Baseball Isn't Boring podcast and on WEEI.